Alright guys, since it's almost been about a week since the release of Elder Faerie and Matcha Cookie, I'm going to be updating the PvP tier list this time around first, and then I'll be updating the PvE tier list for the month of March, or early March I guess, for this tier list here guys. And just keep in mind, this tier list is going to be, of course, based on my opinion as well as my experience, and you guys can always feel free to comment down below anything that you guys think should be changed or anything like that, and I'll take a look at it and I'll discuss it with you guys also if possible, and adjust the tier list accordingly in the next one. Anyways guys, let's go right into it. There's not a lot of things that have changed for the bottom tiers. Of course, we still have the D tier, we still have the C tier, B tier, A tier, and the S tier, which they're still pretty good. The only thing that I really have changed here is actually brought down, if you guys look right here, Sherbet from SS tier to S tier now. Sherbet is okay still, but I want to say probably nowadays it's a little bit less impactful to actually use Sherbet. Still pretty good for early, lower ranked tiers, but besides that, Sherbet is a little harder to use just because of all the debuff immunity, all the craziness going on inside of the arena where you want to do a lot of damage just straight up, right? And then the next one I have actually put up is Linzer as well. I think Linzer does not definitely deserve B tier, at least A tier, or if not even S tier. I think it really just depends on how we look at it. She did have some spotlight before with like a Linzer one-shot comp, not so much right now inside of the current arena, but Linzer does have that potential. She's pretty darn good, especially with the deduction debuff, as well as the extra crit damage and crit percentage that she is able to provide the team. The only one other than that I kind of want to keep an eye out for is going to be Silverbell. But inside of the arena still, for Silverbell, not going to be very impactful even with Mercurial Knight and Elder Faerie, just because Silverbell still kind of dies out pretty darn quickly here inside of the arena right now. And just the restriction that you have with having to have Silverbell with Mercurial Knight, that's already 2 spots taken, and then you have to use someone like Elder Faerie and White Lily to maximize on that. So that is going to be the case. But let's get into the meta now. Pretty much what the arena is revolving around. And first we have Crimson Coral. Crimson Coral is still in the meta. Burnt cheese as well as financier and fettuccine. I'm gonna put Rebel in here and I'm gonna talk about it later. We have our White Lily as well as Golden Cheese, Frost Queen still, of course Black Pearl, and I'm actually gonna be putting Stardust back up here and I'll talk about that later. Creme Brulee, as well as we have Parfait, Snapdragon, as well as Icicle Yeti. The only other one that I kind of want to still want to see and wait is going to be Hollowberry. Hollowberry is coming back here and there and here and there, depending on the comp, but I think it's going to be safe to keep Hollowberry still at the SS tier as of right now. 2 other cookies that has been brought up from SS tier. It's going to be Rebel as well as Stardust. So Rebel is still really good right now. There are still various Rebel one-shot comps utilizing someone like Burnt Cheese with Rebel, and then you have someone like Frost Queen, Golden Cheese, or even someone like White Lily. And you just burst down the enemies using Rebel because of the insane amount of extra damage that you're able to do with Rebel's skill. So I think Rebel is going to be better in the meta tier right now, just because Rebel one-shot comp is a very strong one-shot comp utilized inside of the arena. Stardust is here because of one other cookie, alright? And Stardust is coming back because of this one, because we're gonna have Elder Faerie up in the meta now, and because we don't have any curse protection on Elder Faerie, and not a lot of people are utilizing someone like Rockstar anymore as well, Stardust is actually coming back inside of the arena and to counter Elder Faerie, because Elder Faerie even has the taunt, right? And without being able to receive buffs, Elder Faerie is quite squishy, and Stardust is great at eliminating those enemies who just provide a ton of buffs to not only himself but to the other cookies, and just eliminate them quickly and get them out of the way. So Stardust is coming back, showing some presence inside of the arena right now, especially because of Elder Faerie. So I'm going to be putting Stardust back up into the meta. And then of course we still have the usuals, the White Lily, Golden Cheese, Frost Queen. We still have Black Pearl. Creme attack speed comp still there. Parfait, Snapdragon, and Icicle Yeti are still present as well. And then later, we'll of course have to test out how it's going to be when the butter roll comes out. But as of right now, this is, I think, where the kind of meta is revolving around. There's a lot more cookies now than before, and which means there's a lot more teams now as well. It's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing that there's a lot of variety and you don't need to just rely solely on the ascension and promotion to start ranking up. But it is a bad thing in a way that there's just too many to memorize, to know, and to utilize, because not everyone is going to be able to build everything as well. So there is that downside as well. But that is pretty much what the meta is going to revolve around right now inside of the arena as of the early March of 2024. Now, moving on to the SS tier is going to be Hollaberry as well as Moonlight still. We have Sea Fairy here, Feral Jellyfish, Captain Caviar, as well as Snow Sugar, Rockstar, as well as Pure Vanilla. I think we'll have to decide on Feral Jellyfish sooner or later, whether you want to bring Feral Jellyfish down or not, just because now you're not really utilizing Feral Jellyfish. You're utilizing Burnt Cheese as the early stunner with Rebel, and then you just nuke the enemies with White Lily or, you know, Golden Cheese Frost Queen. Feral Jellyfish is kind of, you know, disappearing as well inside of the arena, just because new one-shot comps are coming around. I would say right now, you know, Snow Sugar 2 kind of there, here and there, just because Frost comps are still kind of, you know, present inside of the arena, but not so much anymore as well. Of course, like I said before, Hollaberry, definitely, you know, we'll have to keep an eye on her just to see how well she does and how long she's able to stay inside of the arena, because she is being used with someone like you know, Financier, as well as someone like Elder Faerie for some comps here. So that's pretty much it, except now we need to add our next cookie, or the last newest cookie, Matcha. So we have Matcha, but in my opinion, Matcha is going to be in something like C tier. Inside of the arena, not so much of a impact, just because, again, there is that RNG factor. If anything, I guess either C or B. Maybe we can just put her in B, just because. Well, you guys let me know. Where do you think Matcha belongs? B or C tier? That's where I would say it. If I want to give her a little bit more credit, then you know, maybe she deserves, then it's gonna be B tier, if not C tier. But the skill being RNG and her requiring too much debuffs inside of the arena to actually proc the Malice, just because, you know, more debuffs means that she's gonna die out faster, and she is pretty squishy as well. So let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Maybe B or C tier, depending on how you guys look at it. But that is pretty much the tier list that I got for you guys for early March 2024. Of course, once Butter Roll rolls through, most likely we'll have the updated tier list again. But as of right now, that's going to be it. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about the tier list. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.